We are building the Metro Map project from the YByte Python curriculum. In the previous two videos, we got an idea about the learning goals from this activity and a general overview of Tkinter, a very high level overview. Let's dig down a little bit deeper into the window here. Remember, the window is this container in which everything gets built, and the reason we are seeing it this way is because of these statements over here. We are generating a window object whose title is Hello World and whose geometry is 300 by 300. Now, before moving forward, I just want to make it very clear that we are going to call it window, all right, but that does not mean that I must name this as window. In fact, in a lot of programs that you might encounter, you'll see that people rename this as root, ROOT, which is perfectly fine. The idea is the same that, no matter what you name it, basically this is the container on which everything will get built. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is to rename this whole thing into, let's say call it from Hello World. I just changed to say YByte Metro Map. Now, if I were to do this, notice my title has changed to YByte Metro Map. Right now, my window is 300 by 300. That basically means it's 300 pixels on both sides. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. First, let's see what do these two mean. So let's say I made it 600 by 300. Well, basically when I do this, you'll notice that the window has become a lot wider. And that's because the 600 refers to the width of the window, which has become more. 300 is the height of the window, which is still 300. We can try one more experiment. Let's say I tried 600 by 100. My window will become very short but quite wide. Of course, in my project here, I'm going to try something like 600 by, maybe let's say 600 by 550 or something. And this may have to be tuned a little bit, because depending on your project, depending on your screen, it may look a little bit different to you. But the idea is the same, so long as you get the idea, that's perfectly fine. Notice the window has become big, but it has also sort of gone upwards. Now I can fix that by giving two arguments, which is the X offset and the Y offset. So basically I can say something like, maybe let's say make it, say 50 pixels on the X side and say 100 pixels on the Y side. Now again, seeing this in action makes it very clear. Notice now when I got my window, it appeared to be a little bit offset on the X side, which is 50 pixels. It is 100 pixels offset on the Y side. Now 100 may be a little bit too much. I can move my window up. Now this is something I'm going to sort of resize a little bit. So let me just try 600 right now. Say 600. Again, there is nothing magical about these numbers. You are free to decide them, and you must decide them according to the metro map that you are putting together and the widgets and stuff that you are adding. But now notice that right now my window can be made larger or smaller, but in fact for this project I would want to make the window exactly the same size and not allow anybody to change the size. Now for that purpose, I'm going to say, look, I want to set this window, window dot resizable, window dot resizable to, let's say, false. And what this means is that I'm telling Tkinter that, okay, give me a window of this size, do not give me this button at all. So when I run this now, notice everything is exactly the same as earlier, except that that one button which I was seeing earlier to resize is now gone, because I've told Tkinter that I do not want this window to change its size as the program runs. Of course, this depends on situation. Sometimes we do want to change the size, but in a metro map kind of project, I don't think there's a need to change the size. Hence I go and resize this. You can also use a geometry method once again to size this window. I'm just going to do one more customization to this window. Now again, I just want to let's say set this. So I'm going to use the configure method. Now notice configure has a lot of options, and that's generally the story. It can get quite confusing sometimes. So we are just going to do a little bit of configuration where I'm going to say, okay, let me set the background color to, let's say, green. Now you can again set it to any color, but I'm just going to set it to, let's say, green. And when I do that, notice my window is now ready with a background color of green. Now really there is a lot more customization that we can do to the window. I'm going to put a link in the description. You can take a look at those links. You can also search on the internet. You'll find that there are many options that can still be explored. But for our purposes, this is just fine. So I'm going to leave it here. All I'm going to do is that for my purpose right now, I'm going to comment out these two widgets because I really don't need this. But remember, I must keep this line because this is the line that keeps the code running, the entire window appearing for me. So if I just say stop and run this again, notice it runs. And if I look at the full screen, then my those widgets are gone. So I've got like kind of like a big green color window on which I can put together my metro map. Now, like I said, it's possible that the size has to be a little bit different for you. Do the customization for yourself. These are not, this is just like an indication. So long as we understand the concept, that is sufficient. I hope this was clear enough. We are going to build on top of this going forward. If you think this way of learning where we are building activities makes it more clear to you, do look at our website because we have many, many, many such activities. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.